All right, hello students, Miss Jones here. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown before you start your assignment and a refresher for that. So remember that your assignment today is on slope and rate of change. Slope and rate of change are the same thing, and they are your change in y over your change in x. So for our first problem, it says find the constant rate of change. Constant means that your change in y over your change in x stays the same for each linear function, and explain what it means. So remember that a linear function is just basically a set of points that when you graph them, they form a straight line. Okay, so here we have our table, and on the x side we have width in feet, and on the right side we have height in inches. So we want to figure out the relationship between the height and the width. So remember that rate of change is your change in your y values divided by your change in your x values, and we write that as a fraction. So let's look at our change in y. So we go from 10 to 14 to 18 to 22 inches. So we are increasing by 4 inches each time, or we're adding 4 inches. Okay, so our change in y is 4 inches. That goes on top. Now our change in x, we go from 2, 4, 6 to 8. So we are adding 2 feet each time. Okay, so our change in y is 4 inches, that goes on top. Our change in x is 2 feet, so 2 feet goes on the bottom. So again, change in y over change in x. So we want to simplify if possible. We can do that. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we get 2 inches per every 1 foot. And we would write this as 2 inches per 1 foot. So what that means is that the height is 2 inches per every 1 foot of width. Okay, so let's move on to the last few. It says find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points. Remember again that your slope is your change in y over your change in x. And the way that you find the change between two numbers is you subtract. For example, if you are trying to find the change from 2 to 10, the change is 8. 10 minus 2 gives you 8. So let's do this. I'm going to use my slope formula of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So negative 7 minus negative 5 is my numerator. Those are my y's, change in y. And my denominator is going to be my change in x, or 6 minus 1. Now remember that when you're subtracting, that's the same as adding the opposite. So negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. 6 minus 1 is 5. So my slope is negative 2 over 5, meaning that I go down 2, right 5, to get from one point to the next. Okay, let's try one more. Here I've got points 7, negative 3, and 8, 1, and I'm trying to find my slope. So again, I'm going to find my change in my y's, so 1 minus negative 3, over my change in my x, 8 minus 7. Okay, so again, I'm going to keep my 1, change minus to plus, flip the negative 3 to a positive. 1 plus 3 is 4. 8 minus 7 is 1. So my slope is 4 over 1, or 4. And that means that I go up 4, right 1, to get from one point to the next. Okay, so our last example is 2 points that have a line through them, and these points are given to you on a graph. Now you could find your slope without the graph by finding your change in y over change in x by subtracting your y's, then subtracting your x's. But because we have a graph given, we can easily do this by counting our change in y and then counting our change in x. So I'm going to draw a triangle so that I can easily see how far I go up or down and then across. Remember that whenever you're finding slope from a graph, you always go up or down and then right. So starting from where I began, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5 because I went down. Then I go to the right one. So my slope is negative 5 over 1, or negative 5. So I hope this review was helpful. If you have questions, let me know. Go ahead and start your assignment. And again, just message me if you have questions or pop on the Zoom tomorrow.